Yeah, people are just getting on. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this.
Let's go.
All right. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talkin Cars with the Guys with Rides crew. And it's myself, Rudy, Nick in the upper left, Lou in the upper right, and our special guest today, Ernie from it's Bucks County Cars and Coffee. He's one of the founders, and as well as one of the would you call yourself a board member of the New Hope
Yes,
car
on
show?
the board.
Great,
Yeah.
great. So, um, so we'll get into that. So here's what we're going to do today. We're changing up the format a little bit, try it out. So if you follow Guys with Rides and receive the newsletter, every day there's a daily theme, and I select Craigslist Classifind cars that I think everyone would like, write about them and talk about them. So each of the guys, I've challenged them to pick a car from this past week, and we're going to talk about it and say what they liked about it and whether they thought the price was right in line with that. So if you have any questions, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, just put them in the chat thing and we'll add them to it. So we're going to go through everybody's cars today at random points, but we're going to let Lou go first, and then we're going to have Ernie talk about his Lotus Evora, which I think is a wonderful car, and as well as Bucks County Exotics and what we can expect from the New Hope, Pennsylvania Auto Show, which, if you're in the area and have never been to, I'm really hopeful that come August it's going to restart because it's a great show. So, without further ado, Lou, I'm going to put up your car. There we go. I figured it out. Everyone there? I
Testing,
think.
testing.
Yeah.
Sound check. Sound check.
Just somebody confirm you can hear us on the thing now. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear it on there. All right.
We're good to go.
We're good to go. It's both sites. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. All right.
There we go.
All right. So
There
we're
we go.
back.
Now we're
Just got to
back.
keep an eye on the sound levels up here. Union shop here. So it sounds like it's going to get fired today. Oh, wait. All right. So sorry about that. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Okay. Got sound. I see it. Thank you. All right. So moving on. So, Ernie, welcome. So let me give you a little intro here. So, met Ernie about a year ago, and Guys with Rides is a proud sponsor of the Bucks County Exotics Cars and Coffee, which is in Doylestown, correct?
Yes.
Yes, currently. So it's a great, great cars and coffee. What's amazing about this area, moving down here from Western New York about 10 years ago, is it's on par with, you think everybody thinks California is a great car mecca, but this area between New York and Philly, I'm just amazed at what a car mecca is and what you can spot on any given day, particularly on a weekend. The only difference is our season is shortened with the weather that we're currently experiencing. But without further ado, Ernie, I'm going to have you talk about how you started Cars and Coffee, and then we'll talk about New Hope a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, guys. This is terrific. I bought my car in 2010, the first model year, and I quickly discovered what great fun cars and coffees are. And I went to one in Westchester. I went to the one in South Philly. I'm sorry, South Jersey, and they were great. I had a ball. The only problem was they were both an hour away, and I thought we should have one here. So I called a few friends who I knew had sports cars, and we had our first meet in October of 2011 with just 7 cars, which is kind of interesting because now 10 years later, on a nice day, we'll get 100+ cars. I called it Bucks County Exotics for 2 reasons. At the time, 10 years ago, I was concerned about the phrase cars and coffee. Was it copyrighted? So I called the original Cars and Coffee in Irvine, California, and they never returned my call. So I didn't want to take a chance of getting any legal trouble. And in retrospect, it wasn't necessary, but at the time I was concerned about it. And I also wanted to aim this Cars and Coffee here at sports cars. So I called it Bucks County Exotics, and it worked. I'd say 90% of the cars we get at each meet are sports cars, not necessarily modern ones. Plenty of modern Ferraris, Lambos, Astons, all that stuff, but a lot of vintage sports cars that are really interesting. We meet 2 times a month, first and third Saturdays. There's no dues, there's no rules. It's just a bunch of people enjoying cars, having fun, making friends. We have a website, buckscountyexotics.com, and a Facebook page. And everybody's welcome to come. It's really been a lot of fun and a lot of success.
Yeah, very cool. So, Ernie shared a bunch of pictures from last year. Hang on, it's when I go to I've got it figured out. All right, so go ahead. Sound is up back on.
Okay, that's a 2010 Evora, the first year they made the car. And Lotus, as you guys know, has a notorious build quality reputation. The Evora is indeed an improvement, but it still has its uh, traditional gremlins that go with British cars. The day I bought it, I drove it home, pulled into the garage, and I decided to try and figure out what some of these buttons do. I hit the radio button, and the door's locked. It's true. It took 3 trips to the dealer to get the turn signal squared away. A lot of little gremlins like that, but everything was addressed under warranty. The car has a Toyota drivetrain, which certainly lends to its reliability. It handles like you probably have read and seen on TV. Lotuses are known for handling terrifically. They have spectacular suspension systems and steering systems. The car's a dream to drive. It's completely impractical. It's hard to get into. It's hard to get out of. It's noisy. There's nowhere to put anything. I mean, you put all that together, and I love it. That's what gives it its charm. That it's made for one thing. It's made for enjoying driving, and it's been great. I've had it for 10 years.
Wow.
I've got about 19,000 miles on it, and I hope to keep it forever.
That's
a lot of fun.
And then, unfortunately,
oh yeah.
You want to explain what happened here?
Yeah, I was scouting out a cruise for our group, and in Bucks County there's a lot of beautiful wooden forests with roads that run through them. The deer were there first, and I went around a turn that was less than 90 degrees, a really, really sharp turn, which was unfortunate because I had to go about 5 miles an hour to get around it. As soon as I got around the turn, I stomped on it. I was up to about 50, and this deer appears on my right side coming out of the woods. I slammed on the brakes. The deer slammed on the brakes. It was like a cartoon. He had both legs out in front of him. He's sliding across the road, and my front right corner hit his front left corner. He bounded off into the woods, and that's my car in the shop with $20,000 worth of body work to be done. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
I got an opportunity to write about the deer herd in Pennsylvania for the National Lotus magazine. I learned some interesting things. Pennsylvania has the largest deer herd in the country, and 10% of all the reported insurance claims for deer hits in the country come from Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So
all right. Well, thank you. I had, when they first came out, I had an opportunity to drive one. One of the launch cars they were sending to all the, I don't know, 50 dealerships they had.
I drove that car too.
And then I had an opportunity, an acquaintance at Lime Rock was when Skip Barber was still there, and they used those cars. And his claim was the Evora was much more not so much it was reliable because of the Camry drivetrain, but it was a lot less hard on maintenance items like brakes and pads than the 911s they had there on the box, and the Miatas even. So, for what that's worth.
That's interesting. I tracked it at Pocono, and the driver, the education driver that was with me he had a 911 that was totally decked out, and it was super fast. It was faster than my car, but he was really impressed with my car being a stock car that could handle and go like it did. He thought it was pretty cool too.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to keep. So thanks everybody for your patience. It's an issue with when I do change files, I've got to remember to unmute everything. So I've got that figured out now, and we'll keep going. So Ernie, if you want me to stop anything here, just say so. But we'll go through some of the cars here. That's the event there. I mean, this is a great shot. You want to explain that one?
That was pretty cool. They're just regular guys that are members. I shouldn't use that word. They're attendees of BCX, and one day all three of them showed up. There's actually a fourth guy that owns a Ford GT that would have been great to get him in the picture too, but he wasn't there that day.
And Lou, the number 8, the golf livery there.
Yeah, heritage. Yeah.
So somebody reached out and said they almost bought that car, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a $10,000 upgrade, I think.
I think it was 13,000 for the upgrade for the Heritage Edition, and for the stripe that goes all across, they charge an extra 5.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
The only other option was a stereo, some sort of upgraded stereo. Oh, and wheels, different wheels. That was it. Those 4 options: the stripe, the stereo, and the wheels.
Wow.
And near the end of the run, they couldn't sell them. They were discounting them.
They're worth more than they were new now.
Yeah.
Now they're worth more than they were new. Right.
Crazy.
I like them better than the new version.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for the new GT.
Yeah.
Well, we got a picture of one of those in here later.
Oh, nice 3. And there you go. That's
That
exotic
car
too.
That's not your everyday Gremlin. That is a Levi's edition Gremlin.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's Malaise at its finest right there.
Oh, is that a Dale next to it?
That's a
I heard there's another Dale running around this area.
the upholstery is all denim. It's pretty neat.
Wow. Very cool.
Anybody know what that is?
Is that a Noble?
No. They made 15 of these. It's a SSC Ultimate Aero. SSC is Shelby Supercars.
Wow.
And they only made 15 of them. And at the time it was produced, they claimed at 270 miles an hour, it was the fastest production car in the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, pretty neat.
And that's something right there.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you something. You look at what amazed me about this one, and Ernie, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can see some road rash on the front bumper here. I don't know, maybe it's just dust on the camera lens, but if that's road rash, kudos to him for driving it and actually using the car.
The owner of this car owns several other similar cars of value, and he races them all over the country. He's got a trailer. He takes this car all over the place.
Nice.
And he also has a brand new Ford GT. He races that. I followed this car once down the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and when we went under the overpass, you couldn't hear anything. I mean, the world was rocking. It was shaking everywhere.
Very cool.
The way it should be.
Old Jag.
Yeah. There's
That's
that, right?
That's your.
Oh, let me go back.
That's a Roussillon. That's a. There you go.
Okay, it'll hold now.
Yeah, that's a Noble M400. It's a British car. Noble and Roussillon and Mosler somehow all related. One bought out the other. The Roussillons are kit cars imported from South Africa without a drivetrain. It comes with assembly instructions when you buy this car. And they tell you where to get the engine and everything else you need. The Roussillon is built on the Noble chassis. They're all related. It's a pretty interesting combination of street legal race cars, essentially.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
the Roussillon.
Okay.
At a glance, they look like Nobles and Moslers. They're all pretty similar.
Love the color.
Yeah.
There. Here's.
That's a Singer.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
They build 5 or 10 a year. And what they do costs more than the donor car. The engine bay is upholstered. It's pretty wild. It's really amazing. I mean, if you're a Porsche file, you gotta check out some singers.
Okay. There we go.
That is an Ariel Atom and a Lamborghini LM002, which I thought was great that they're parked next to each other because one's so high and one's so low. I had the opportunity to ride as a passenger in that Ariel, and you can you sit in the car, you put your arm over the side of the car, and without leaning, you can touch the ground.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's got a Honda engine in it. Some of them have Ford engines in them, and they go like go-karts. They're amazing. I thought my Lotus was the best handling car I was ever in, but this one is another step up.
Neat.
That's a Bugatti.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a livery that never really existed on that car.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who owns it must have liked the Gulf Pride livery, and that's what he did to his Lotus.
Volvo Jag.
Yeah.
You want to explain this one?
Yeah, this is more than a fire engine. You can see on the door it says partyemergency.org. In the back of this truck is a built-in barbecue picnic display. On the side, right behind where those people are standing, is a tap. The guy put a keg in there somehow, and he's got a tap coming out the side. And it plays music, and it's for partying. It's crazy.
That's awesome. I think Lou's inspired.
I am. I'd like to. I'll have to remember that, Nick, and contact them when this COVID thing is over, so we can have a little party.
I can use your help on this. I'm not sure what this is.
That's a Nissan Figaro.
Yep.
Figaro, you're right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what is a right-hand drive.
Yeah, that's a JDM car, and it's you're seeing them all over the place now as they're getting imported in now that they're exempt from the federal 25-year rule.
Yeah, they came in like what three or four pastel colors, and people want to collect one of each one or something.
Yeah, neat little car. Got a as you can see, the retractable top, and there's if you're anyone out there, if you're not familiar with them, just Google Nissan Figaro on YouTube, and there's some cool videos out there to learn about. And there's the
GT.
Yeah. In all the years at PCX, when an unusual car comes in, it draws a crowd. I think this one drew the biggest initial crowd I've ever seen.
wow.
I mean, before the guy got out of the car, there was like 30 people standing around the car. It's pretty neat.
Oh, green.
That is a green Ferrari. The only one I've ever seen.
Wow. And that's a Daytona in front of it, and a 599. Black one to the right to it, or something like that.
It might be a 550.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not okay. Good old. There we go.
There's your wheels.
I like those.
720S.
McLaren. Okay.
You stop there, Rudy. This is interesting. I often have been asked, how do you define the exotic? And certainly that McLaren qualifies as an exotic car because it's rare and it's expensive. But there are other ways to define exotic. And that car on the left, that's the only one I've ever seen. It's a Suzuki RSR Works car. It's right-hand drive. It has a half-liter dual overhead cam turbo that's probably a Suzuki motorcycle engine that they built a car around.
Wow.
it's the only one I've ever seen, and in that sense, that's as exotic as the McLaren next to it. What do you think? How do you define exotic?
Yeah. All these JDM cars come in. That would be a Kai car, correct? The small. I think the that special Kai.
Three-cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Weirdness is another way to define exotic.
Yeah. I agree. Now, what was this one?
This is a hybrid.
Okay.
It's largely a Maserati. It's got a Maserati engine in it. The guy who built it owns a restoring company in Milford, and it's a lot of different components from a lot of different cars, mostly Maserati. It's a one-off, totally custom machine, and he drives it all the time. It's really cool.
Very neat.
Yeah.
That's a Trump.
That's a
yeah.
oh,
Let me go back to that. There we go. Go ahead.
that's a '72 Spitfire Mark III GT6. Unusual car. I had never seen one of those either until it came to PCX.
Wow.
So that's a good example of an older vintage sports car. We get a lot of those too. It's really cool. Attracts a lot of attention.
Now, that's I remember this car. It's a Corvette pace car, 78 pace car, but this one was one of the L82 4-speed, so it was neat to see somebody actually driving one of these.
Yeah.
And my God, is that an 84 Eldorado next to it, Baritz?
Yeah, you don't see those very often, do you, Rudy?
Like those hubcaps?
I love them. I hate cleaning them.
Yeah.
So. Oh, that's a pretty Ferrari. Wow.
Nice blue, yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha.
We get a lot of Cobras.
And then I interjected this one. We were talking a little bit about it during practice yesterday. This gentleman, I saw him. He's the guy with the light blue shirt in the middle, and he took a C5 and did a lot of modifications. And for the life of me, I can't remember where he got the. I want to say he used Thunderbird taillights that they Frenched, but I just can't remember. This car's got a 427 in it. The Harley next to it, and then that's the custom interior combination of leather and Alcantara that he tried to take the C. There's a lot of details in this car that are just amazing. Spent a lot of money on trying to. I stopped short of calling it backdated. It's just different. But and then here's his other car, this GTO. I thought was neat. A lot of details to that. Yeah.
We don't get too many muscle cars, but a few.
Yeah. It's a very there's a TVR, correct?
Yep. Stop there for a moment.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's the same LM002. The car next to it is a replica of a Porsche 904. And I stand next to it, the roof comes up to my hip. And I thought it was just a neat juxtaposition with a car that you basically need an elevator to get into.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys know what the nickname of that the LM2 there is?
Yep. It's the Lambo Rambo.
Right.
Rambo.
Right. That's a wild vehicle.
Yeah, they only build about 400 of that, 390 some.
Yeah.
They're pretty rare.
Very cool, Ernie, and appreciate that. So, so you're also on the Bucks County, the New Hope Auto Show. So, and not to put you on the spot. not to put you on the spot, but you guys are still trying to hope for having the event in August?
Yeah, we are. The second weekend in August, like it always is, on 2 days. Saturday is domestic cars. Sunday is foreign cars. We're couching everything with, like everyone else is with the pandemic. We're hoping that we're going to have it. It's possible that we won't. Nobody really knows. The way things are looking now, it looks like we will have it.
Good.
I have 3 new classes this year. The auto show, the New Hope Auto Show, is famous for stock. You got to be stock. But to get more wider audience involved, we're continuing with the stock tradition, but we're also adding hot rods, replicas, and tuners this year. Those 3 classes will not be judged, but they're really a test to see what kind of new interest we can develop for the show. So
good. All right, so I'm going to move on to your pick, and I'm going to have to unmute everything. And so it did that again. So I'm going to stop here. Go ahead, Ernie, and explain why you picked this car. For everyone's benefit, this is from Topless Thursday, which is the feature just convertibles on Thursday. So go ahead. Why'd you pick this car?
well, I picked it for 2 reasons. All the trick stuff is really cool. The doors, the seats swivel, the hood stands up like that. And, bullet nose Studebakers are just kind of cool cars to hot rod. The other reason I picked it is I'm a retired graphic designer and decorative designer, kind of an artist. And you guys know the fundamental rule in hot rodding is there is no rules. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
And as an artist, I see that as a blank canvas to be super creative. And this guy was super creative, and hot rods in general offer that opportunity for creativity. And I've always loved hot rods. I never had one, but I'd love to create one someday.
Yeah.
The guy that owns this car is 80, and I think that's kind of cool. I'd like to see an 80-year-old guy driving this car around.
Yeah. And that's actually the second or third Studebaker we featured on here that's been hot rodded. And it's interesting when you look at the Haggerty values, because this is a classic car that it's not worth anything stock, really. And so why not have a little fun with it? And, it's just like you said, you can take your custom brush to it and make it anything you want. We've had a couple. This is like I say, the third one on there. So if you do type Studebaker hot rod or resto mod, you'll see the other ones on the site.
Yeah.
All right.
I see from the area. I've looked at some too that are for sale. They're desirable strictly for what you're talking about for hot rodding. They have ones that are wrap around the glass, on the coupes, Starlight coupes.
Right.
The bullet nose Starlight coupes are, they're a great car. They hot rod them, but they're a little tiny inside. There's not a lot of room. The convertibles are much better for us full body guys.
Nice. Yes.
Good guy.
Very cool. All right. So, any other comments on?
They have nice. You really get exotic cars at Bucks County. Exotics. I guess because of the name. You don't get like we at a high octane down here where we go to. We get muscle cars. We get Vipers. We get a lot of Porsches and Ferraris. We get restored cars. We get original Model T show up. They drive in. We have a gentleman comes with an old flatbed with a car in progress of being restored. So that's the kind of mix that we have. But yours are upper echelon.
that meets the South Jersey meet that inspired me. That I was talking about a few minutes ago. It's a great meet. At BCX, we never dissuade, tuners, bikes, antiques, hot rods, all that stuff. If you have one, you want to come, that's great. But it's primarily sports cars.
You have a lot of old Corvettes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
More old ones than new ones.
I didn't see too many in the pictures. That's why I was asking. I didn't see any in the picture, like C2s or things like that. C1, C2s.
Yeah, I know I've seen them there. There just weren't any pictures, but actually it was beautiful. Okay. The last time I was there, when I hit the deer with the Eldo, there was a beautiful silver. Was a silver one, and then a guy showed up, and it was what's the green color in the C2? I can't remember the name of it. That was everybody started walking around that car.
Yeah, that C2 was 63.
Mosport, more something green.
Yeah.
I think I'll bring the Koenig up there.
Hey, Lou, I think Lou, do you have a second device on? I'm hearing like an echo.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So on to Nick. The Nick's pick,
yes, sir,
was from last Saturday, Sports Car Saturday. So I'm going to start this. On. Okay, we're off mute, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, I know for those that know me, this is probably a pick like Nick, a Japanese sports car. What happened here? But I've always been intrigued by these cars, and there weren't that many made. This was made for Honda's 50th anniversary. They sent to the U.S. only about 66,000 of them, and this particular one here is the more desired one with the the original design and the AP1 code. Which how many other cars can you say you can take up to a $9,000 RPM red line? I think that's pretty cool, obviously.
Yeah.
Another fun fact about this one is that Honda for mass production claimed that this had the most cubic inch it was basically 2 horsepower per cubic inch. So that's pretty wild. You can get almost 240 horsepower out of a dual overhead cam inline 4.
Yeah.
So and this particular example seems to be in very good shape. And as I mentioned, people desire the first generation. They didn't really like the second facelift that occurred 2004 or so with the clear headlights and LED tail lights and new front chin or spoiler design. Although the argument can be said either way, because obviously the later ones did get some nice upgrades. Larger rear tires, subframe was redesigned for stronger rigidity, but they did the red line down to almost 8,200 RPM. So it depends on, I guess, what you like more. But they also, shortened the gear ratios, which I find interesting. From first through fifth were shortened, whereas sixth gear was lengthened, and they also changed the synchros from brass to carbon fiber.
Wow.
So again, some pretty neat things. And then also in 08, they introduced for the first time, rather than just one pretty much trim level, they introduced the Club Racer, which they only made 668 of in this first year. And then the car got canceled in total the next year in 09, where they only made 31. So those are interesting because they're bringing, larger values with the short production line. But another fun fact about those Club Racers, they actually had a light on the dashboard that told you when you were reaching optimum or peak power performance, which I thought was interesting.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's another auction site that shall remain nameless, but they had one across the block, the virtual block, at $117,000 last week. And, go ahead.
A nice low mileage one in 2019 on Barrett Jackson went for almost 47,000, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But brand new, these were about 32 grand, or in today's money about 47. When you think about it, that's less money than a Boxster or a Z3 at the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
but values are certainly going up, which is why it intrigued me. Values are up about 5%. And interestingly, or maybe not interestingly enough, most of the interest is coming from millennials, about 40%, because I guess that was the car to have, when they were coming up. So
Interesting.
yeah, Haggerty. I looked at Haggerty, and they're showing that quote activity is up by like 55% on these cars.
Wow.
So this particular example, I mean, value wise, he may be slightly high with the mileage, because I think that they high mileage kind of trade now for around 10, 11 grand, but and low mileage would bring you 25 grand. So maybe he is somewhere in the middle with his condition. So
I saw one of these in a Honda dealer on display a few years ago, and Honda, were very proud of it and its performance and its style. And
yeah,
the guy told me the only reason they stopped producing them is because it was so small that the potential buying market was too small. They couldn't sell the car to anybody bigger than 5'8".
Huh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I had the opportunity to drive one, and I was very uncomfortable and cramped, so I really couldn't enjoy the driving experience as much as I would have loved to.
Wow.
Hey, Rudy, I am hearing something sound-wise in the background.
Yeah. I wonder whether it's. Well, hang on a second. Maybe it is the heaters. I'm going to turn those off. Sorry for that pause. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, thanks. The only thing I saw on this is normally I try not to pick a Craigslist ad like this, but the timing was good. That I knew that other car was going to be a record. But here's a great example. If you're going to sell a car, and I've got an article on the website on what to do. If you can, pull it out of the garage. Wait a couple of days. There's not one picture that's got a full shot of the car. You really don't get to see the true condition of the paint. The interior shot here, it does show, the typical lumbar support.
Yeah.
But the more pictures, the better when you're trying to sell a car online. There's another one.
Absolutely.
Chopped. Nobody wants to see your garage. They want to see the car. So, I always, if you're thinking about selling a car, check out the article we did online for that. So, all right, we're going to move on to my pick here. So, and then we can. So, when I saw this, let me back up here.
Cool.
Yeah, this one really impressed me for a couple of reasons, and I'll tell you why. So this was another Topless Thursday convertible we picked. Now, I'm a little bit partial to big Buicks from the 60s. I once owned a 68 Electra 225. And so if you're not familiar with it, Buick around that time made 3 full-size, generally as a generalization. So they had the LeSabre, the Wildcat, and the Electra 225. This was the sportier version, if there was such a thing, of the full-size car. And really, go ahead.
For the Electra 225?
Say that again?
What's the nickname for the Electra 225?
Deuce and a quarter.
Deuce and a quarter.
Yep.
Deuce
and a quarter.
Love those nicknames.
I love them. Yeah, that thing basically was a Cadillac Coupe de Ville in drag. And that was a if I remember right, those the difference between the Electra around these times. The Electra was based on and the DeVille for that matter. They were based on the B body, whereas the Wildcat and the LeSabre, the entry level versions, were based on a slightly shorter B body. Very hard to distinguish unless they're next to one another. But what really caught me with this one, when you start looking at the pictures, here's, okay, nice resto mod, great rake, nice wheels. And I'm fully expecting, before I read the description, all right, what's he got under the hood? And it's probably going to be an LS swap, maybe, because not many people want to hop up a vintage Buick engine. And it'll come here in a minute. So it's a Tennessee car. For black paint, looks very straight for the pictures provided. And the best part about it is the interior's all done. A nice custom touch with the floor shifter, because I know these, unless you got a console with these in the Wildcat, it was a column shifter all day long.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and
I never saw wheels like that. I don't know, it's strange wheels.
Yeah, and you see over it's hard to decipher, but in the there's like a pinstriping here, and it's a Wildcat 355. So, all right, what does that mean? The first thing that came to mind again was, okay, is it a 355 Chevy V8? Because that's a common thing to do. And no. Nailhead. So he kept the nailhead and just warmed it over. It's a rebuilt nailhead in here. And so fun fact, so there were two engines available. I want to say a 401 and a 425. And Buicks in this vintage, the number was not the labels on the air cleaner were not the displacement. It was the torque of the engine. So these, if I recall right, were 301 foot-pounds of torque, but this one has 355 on it. So it's a neat custom touch, and kudos to the builder of this for keeping it all Buick.
You couldn't build that car. You couldn't get anywhere near that car for what he's selling it for.
It's amazing to me. That is yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. And,
but you got to, it's like you got to want a Buick. That's what.
Yeah.
You got to want a Buick.
Yeah, but if you've never driven one of those, that would be a lot of fun with you and 5 of your friends or family members. So that was my pick for the week. And it's probably one of those that would not fit in my garage behind me here. That's a great detail there. So a lot of car for under 20 grand.
It is.
Oh. All right. So I'm going to come back to you guys here, and there we are. Everybody's back, and we're still off mute. So cool. We ended up a little bit early.
64 Chevy or something like that, done like that, it'd be gone like the same day.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. So we're actually a little ahead of schedule. What do you guys want to, any topics of discussion you guys want to bring up?
Yeah, we got to talk about what we're all working on.
Oh, right. Thank you. So, all right, Lou, you want to start?
Me? I'm just finishing up a house for a kitty cat, an outdoor house for a cat. That was my project while Nick was away. So the other room, unfortunately I can't show it to you. I know you'd really love to see it. So
it's an inside joke.
It's terrible out here. It's snowing. Only stuff you can do is inside.
Yeah.
And I'm tinkering around with 48 Mercury, and I'm working on that. It's a street rod. I'm doing lots and ends on it and getting it ready for Cars and Coffee season.
Nice.
Right.
Very cool. And I forgot to mention it last week when I stopped over there real quick. You guys have to hear the sound of that Mercury. That's got a nice rumble to it. So look forward to seeing that at the out on the road. All right.
Well, West County takes hot rods, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
good shakedown crews to come up this way.
It would.
Yeah.
No, I just can't let Nick drive it.
Oh, right. Yes, because I bend lifters, right?
Yes, lifters and these things, they're like they're gold. They're gold right here.
What are those?
We're even. You lost one. I lost one. We're even.
Poverty caps.
Well, no, I didn't lose one. Woody lost one. Woody lost one, and Nick lost one.
Good God.
And Nick collapsed my lifters. I had to change the lifters.
Oof.
Right.
Oof.
When you think everything's done, and then all of a sudden, you're always something to do. There's always something to do. Especially when you have more than one car, so they don't drive it all the time, and then when you go to drive it, something sticks, something doesn't work. You got to keep them. You got to keep them running. You got to drive them and enjoy them.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Oh, Ernie, did you work on anything in your garage this weekend?
Well, not in the garage, but I am working on something.
Okay.
It doesn't get your fingers greasy and dirty, but Lotus is supposed to be coming out with an all-new car at the end of this year. And what I'm working on is ramping up my wife's interest in letting me get one.
Keep us posted.
Right now, it's called the Type 131. They haven't even named it yet. But if you Google Lotus Type 131, you can find out all I know about it.
Okay.
I think there was an article in the last week or two about a Lotus dealer in Connecticut selling. He still had a brand new Lotus.
There was, yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
Saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
He's sat on it all this time and wouldn't budge. And I think he just sold it. Yeah.
He did. Like 170,000 or something. I forgot what it was. Is that about right?
I thought it was a little bit lower than that, but
Something like that.
I thought he wanted like, for some reason, 87,000 sticking in my mind.
Well,
He wanted sticker price for a 10-year-old car.
All my Lotus buddies are excited that Geely, giant Chinese automobile maker, bought Lotus about 2 years ago. About 6 years ago, they bought Volvo, and you saw what happened to Volvo in the last 5-6 years. They sunk jillions of dollars into it. The entire line's redesigned. They have a performance division, and they left them to their own autonomy. And we're hoping that Geely will do the same thing with Lotus. We'll see.
Yeah.
They also announced that they have their factory can do 200,000 cars a year, and they're only using it for like 130. So now they are offering their factory for other companies if they want them to help build their cars.
Wow.
A lot of stuff's happening in China.
Yeah, that's for sure. Nick, what were you working on this week? I know you were traveling, so.
Other than getting stuck away from home, I was out in Montana for business. But on the car front, if you need any 90s Mercedes hydraulic top cylinder work done, I'm your guy. A lot of hard to get to areas of the car to change leaky cylinders. Also, I've been working on, I have a 1995 Mercedes E320 Cabriolet that had those lovely seatbelt presenters for the front two for the driver and passenger. So been diving into the world of fixing micro switches and little plastic clips, and it's been fun, but it's back up and running. So that little novelty, from the 90s is alive and well in the car again.
Very good. Very good.
It's interesting. It takes a tiny piece of plastic. What is it, about an inch by an inch, Nick, that fits in there?
Yeah.
That to make it work, and that's discontinued by Mercedes.
So I was lucky to find someone on eBay, but hopefully with the world and advances of 3D printing, we'll make a couple extra to have it when we need it again.
That's a perfect example.
I think that's going to be our next toy, is a 3D printer.
Yeah. It's probably a lucrative thing on the side.
Yeah. And last but not least, I'm looking forward to helping you with risky business, hopefully in the near future.
Yes. I think parts are going to be put on order this week. Going to start moving forward on that car again. I did not do anything to it this week. Been busy with some website background stuff, and but the time is. I think actually we're supposed to get some milder weather here, and so got to do.
Well, you can work on finding the ground fault.
Yeah, that's
running a ground wire.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna get that done this week, and put the sending unit in, and get keep going on that. I am going to try to polish the wheels myself. I do have a polishing kit. I think I want to try to do that before there's clear coat on it. So I got to remove the clear coat. And some of the interior bits I'm going to put on order. They're about a 5-week lead time. So
I can bring a Benz wheel if you want a guinea pig before we try one of those.
yeah,
lovely.
we could do that. We could do that if it's a sacrificial one.
Yeah.
Good. So that's what's coming up this week. I candidly was not out here much this week with some other activities going on, but next week I'll get back into the fold and keep you posted. Nick, make the trip up and help me with the.
Cool. All right, awesome.
Finally take a shakedown cruise in that thing because it's now legal too. I did get the plates last week, so well, good.
Awesome.
Yep. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, and that's the top of the hour. So everybody tuning in, we'll not sure who we'll have for guests next week. I've got a couple people in mind. There's a gentleman who owns Car Care Specialties, a detailing shop. Frank, if you're out there, we're going to see which week works for you. But he wants to talk about ceramic coatings, and I think that might be a good discussion to understand a little bit better, because I think that's a little bit of a there's some old school people like me that still haven't been convinced yet, and I got to be convinced otherwise. I'm struggling with the notion that a bottle about the size of a shot glass can be used to coat an entire car. So he's got to explain that. That's my first question. But I think that and a couple other guests. We're looking to have Ross, who is the fringe car collector on Instagram. If you follow him, he's got some very eclectic trucks, commercial grade trucks, and I think we want to get him back on because we had some technical difficulties. It was one of the first shows, and working on getting him on and really show off his what is a very eclectic collection. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.
Great.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
All right.
Take care.